Welcome back to our thought for the day. It's really good to be back here with you. All this week we're just trying to sort of spice things up a bit by doing a daily challenge that you might find on social media. Things that go viral, things that people are doing and they're nominating their friends and that kind of thing. And so I thought it'd be fun to do something a bit silly this week and then end with a positive biblical challenge. There are lots of negative challenges we've been saying, but also really good positive things that we can do just to know God more and grow and move forward. So we've done some silly things this week. We're going to end with a sport challenge, and this is why I'm wearing my Tottenham top. Just in case you're confused, Tottenham Hotspur are the greatest team in the entire world. And if you don't believe me, they are unbeaten in the last 6 weeks. So one of the challenges that you find on social media is the plank challenge, where you hold your body like that, just with your arms and your feet here, and you hold yourself like a plank for as long as possible. So I'm going to do it now, see how long I can get to, see how well I can do. So let's do that. So that's quite tiring. I think I've got abdominal muscles that I'm sure that many people are jealous of. But it's good. The plank challenge is quite difficult. It takes lots of determination, perseverance, and really fighting through the pain barrier. And I wanted to think a little bit about perseverance this afternoon. Perseverance is an admirable quality, isn't it? We admire those people that persevere through difficult times or set out a great project and they persevere through all the way to the end in achieving their dream. I remember I used to do a kids talk, an object lesson with a jar, and in that jar we put whipping cream about halfway up and you screw the jar on tight, and the person or the group of people have to shake that jar furiously for about 10 to 15 minutes. And over the course of that time, as they persevere, as they keep shaking that jar, the cream becomes butter, and it makes it a really good illustration of what perseverance can do. Somebody once said that triumph is simply oomph added to try. And that's really what perseverance is. And we can persevere in all sorts of things, can't we? Maybe it's a diet, maybe it's a healthy kick, maybe it's learning a new skill, maybe it's within your job or a relationship as well. And you show perseverance, and it really kind of goes quite a long way to achieving what you hope it will. Jesus, in his teaching on the Sermon on the Mount, which can be found in chapters 5, 6 and 7 of the Gospel of Matthew, takes the ethics of our world and kind of turns them on their head. If you're familiar with these 3 chapters in Matthew, in fact, much of all of Jesus' teaching really, he takes what you think is going to be right and just somehow gives it a biblical spin, a kingdom of God spin, and often turning what we think is wise and right and turns it on its head. And he does that with this idea of perseverance. In the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 40, Jesus is talking about retaliation, and he says this: "If anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with him 2 miles. If anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go 2 miles with him." And I was pondering that verse just a little bit today as I prepared this thought, and it occurred to me that often when we think of perseverance, often we think of it in terms of personal development, personal gain. I'm persevering with that diet or with that skill or with my career. But then Jesus comes along 2,000 years ago and says this wonderful thing where he actually is talking about persevering for someone else. In this case, someone who you might consider an enemy. The context of that verse is probably with regards to a Roman soldier saying, "Oh, carry this." And then Jesus says, well, if he does that, go an extra mile. Show him my love, show him my grace by persevering for double the length of what that person asks you to do. And it really strikes me as we think of the positive challenges that the Bible gives us this week, much like the plank, when it hits that pain barrier and you might persevere. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we were men and women and children who persevered not for our good, but who persevered for the good of other people, even the good of our enemies, or those who don't like us or treat us badly. What an amazing thought. Jesus takes the world's logic, tips it on its head. But wouldn't the world work better if we used our oomph and our try for the good of others rather than the good of ourselves? So our final challenge this week is a good one, is a positive one, but it's one that is about other people's good going forward. And that really is something to think about, and I hope you will, because the longer we're in this situation, it rumbles on, the more people there will be to support and care for and help. Don't forget to tune in to our live stream service at 10:30 this coming Sunday morning. Everybody is welcome. If you go to another church or no church at all, or you come to our church, come along 10:30 on Sunday morning. God bless.